Vincent, for as long as I can remember, the UK telco BT has been a dog, but it may be that things are turning around. Is that the case?
Well, I think it certainly looks that way. I mean, what we've seen today is a very healthy set of results, a 12% boost in the share price. I mean, that's very dramatic, right? Okay, there's a big investor love-in going on, even as we speak, between Ian Livingston, the CEO, and analysts and investors. There's 150 pages of slides on the website if anybody wants to go through them, you know, sort of relentlessly pushing the BT story and the turnaround and what they've achieved so far. And actually, there's a good deal of substance to this. It is a turnaround story. It looks like it's in a much better financial position now than it was 5 years ago, but it's been a very tough turnaround.
And of course we had all the news yesterday about this so-called free football offering, which is one thing, but today was also about results, and they were pretty good, weren't they? They
were good, yes. It's doing very well on things like free cash flow. Its revenue is continuing to decline, although actually what it has done, and this is kind of, I think, notable, is that the decline in revenues stopped in the fourth quarter of the year. So maybe the sort of worst of that is over, because for the last 5 years, BT has been a shrinking company. I mean, revenues have gone from 21 billion in 2008 to 18 billion now. So, you know, it's been very much a sort of shrinking base for the last 5 years.
And on the cost side, because the early turnaround was all about costs,
absolutely,
wasn't it?
A huge takeout of costs. I mean, nearly 5 billion of costs taken out. You know, they've focused on operating expenditure, on capital expenditure. What they've done is kind of, you know, in taking out costs, that has just sort of freed up cash. That's led to, you know, higher investment rates, and that's inevitably leading to higher earnings. You know, so that's a good way to manage that kind of transition.
And now they've done the housekeeping bit. This football announcement, if anything, is a show of now we're going to think about ways to generate new revenue. Do you think it's enough to move the dial?
I think it's going to be very tough to do it. I mean, Sky B is very entrenched in the whole football product in the UK. So, you know, getting viewers away from that, you know, sexing up its own product, if you like, to make it compete with Sky's is going to be very difficult and very expensive. I mean, they've paid 750 million quid, BT has, for 3 years of a very small handful of Premier League football games. It's going to have to be a very, very slick product indeed to win over customers for the long term, and that's the challenge it faces.
And final question, the share price has moved a lot. Is a lot of this good news already in the price?
No, I think that what we're seeing, it may very well be in now, because the shares are up 12% today, that's a big step, right? I think there's, you know, if they can keep it up, there's a lot more to go. This is definitely a turnaround story, and I think that it looks like there's life for incumbent telecoms operators yet.
Well, even cynical old Lex likes a good turnaround story. Thank you very much for that update, Vincent.